It's been 24 hours since my last video on the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse. And in 24 hours, a lot of new details have emerged with this case, with the bridge collapse. Let's take a look once again as you see the lights off with the Dolly cargo ship. You see the lights come back on and the plume of smoke from the back of the cargo ship. Now take a look here once again as you see the cargo ship steered directly into the support column. As it makes impact, you see the lights come back on. And shortly after making impact, this bridge collapsed rather quickly. Comes down momentarily, as you're going to see after it makes impact right about now. And there you see it coming down momentarily. And just take a look. And some have claimed, as you see here, that there were explosions that supposedly took down the bridge. No way. If anything, like I said, it would be nanothermite cutters, because obviously you would hear explosions taking place, and obviously we don't hear that with this whole scenario. Now, one aspect that is not discussed, I haven't seen anybody else talk about this as far as the bridge itself. Taking a look here at the top view, let's get a little bit closer look and take a look at the steel structure of the bridge itself. You see it in the water on top of the cargo ship. Take a look at the actual roadway of the bridge. Okay, from this aspect, this point, only the steel structure collapsed. The actual roadway hasn't. So this is a scenario where it's perfect. Where you want to reconnect the bridge itself, it's like perfectly cut at both positions. Let's take a look here at this angle. And you see this. It's perfectly like cut. Where if you want to add construction, of course, to extend the bridge, to replace it, to rebuild, it's going to be a lot easier where you have this perfectly cut bridge. And here you see the bridge itself prior. And again, from this position to here, this whole steel frame, this whole steel structure, this is what has come down. Nothing here, nothing here. So that's the scenario that we're looking at. Now let's take a listen to this very short segment from the press conference the day of the collapse of the bridge itself with the governor of Maryland, Wes Moore. And if I was at this press conference, the first thing I'd ask him is, how long have you been a Freemason? Because definitely people in these high positions, they are Masons. Make no mistake about it. Let's take a listen to what is said here.
That we do know is that many of the vehicles were stopped before they got onto the bridge, which saved lives in a very, very heroic way.
Thank you all very much. Thank you so much. We'll have another update later. Thank you.
And they abruptly stopped the press conference after that. That gets into very important details. Let's take a look here. First off, and this is from the Washington Post, as you can see, from about 12:45 a.m., the Dolly Singaporean flag cargo ship leaves the dock in Baltimore, moving through the Patapsco River. Now, this is a very important topic, very important aspect that was brought up in the comment section underneath my previous video. Tugboats, which are routinely used at the Port of Baltimore to help get the vehicles out of the docking station, were already cut loose when the Dolly's pilot and crew lost control of the ship. Ships are not required to have escorts through the bridge. So their protocol with the Port of Baltimore might not match with other ports, which would require the assistance of the tugboat to pull out cargo ships and other vessels. So this leaves room for them to pull this off as not using the assistance of the tugboats, obviously. Now, moving on here to the next segment, this gets back to Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, what he stated regarding closing off the bridge itself. So at 1:27 a.m., after receiving the Mayday call from the Dolly, officials asked police to block traffic on either side of the bridge. 9/11 records show there's a ship approaching that just lost all their steering. The dispatcher says, so until you get that under control, we got to stop all traffic. So 2 emergency responders say they have stopped traffic on the north and south sides of the bridge. So you have this where it's 1:27. Once again, that leads to this article from the Washington Post with more details, where again, 1:27, the evacuation is called and the bridge is stuck at 1:28. So you only have a minute, 1 minute to clear the bridge, to stop traffic coming on. So again, that gets back to Westmore and the question about the cars on the bridge. Obviously, there's a very short time span between 127 and 128, less than a minute to get this all together. And that's a huge task to stop all oncoming cars in such a short time period. But the main thing is for this to happen at 1:28 a.m. is very convenient. Imagine this happening at 1:28 p.m. where there's many, many cars on the bridge. So this is very convenient that this is happening at 1:28 a.m. in the morning. And the numbers game, as I pointed out in my previous video, there's more to it. First off, let's take a look here as I showed in my previous video with the Baltimore Bridge being 77. You have here, of course, the Francis Scott Key Bridge, which is 69. And this is the man it's named after, as you see pictured, Francis Scott Key. And obviously he wrote the American National Anthem. Now let's take a look here. When it comes to cargo ship, when it comes to the numbers game, cargo ship is 33 numerology with Chaldean. Now let's take a look here at this video. Very interesting aspect where you see the very morning with this video footage, taking a close inspection of the cargo ship itself. And what do you see? That number 3 on one side of the cargo ship, clear as day, with the number 3. And as the camera pans over, what do you see here? The backwards 3. So you have your 3 and 3 in plain sight for your 33. Make no mistake about it. For anybody that has doubts about this, there you go. And obviously with the 3 and 3, again with the cargo ship, you have your dual 33s when it comes to Freemasonry. As you see here with this Grand Sovereign Commander, as I show many times, your dual 33 in plain sight. And just a closer look at the dual 33. Now, the first individual interviewed that received the spotlight, Jesus Campos, who supposedly knows workers on the bridge. Take a look here. The first individual, once again being interviewed, he has a 33 name. Just an amazing coincidence. And of course, Jesus, as in Jesus as well. That's another aspect. I touched upon it in the past. Now, as I showed again in my previous video, the rescue workers, and I pointed this out, I'm going to get a little bit of a close-up, the numbers. Once again, take a look here. As I pointed out, 923 or 329, obviously September 23rd or March 29th. Also, of course, the 1109, 911. And what I see, what people are going to miss, is the 110. And this is huge with the connection with 9/11. Of course, David Rockefeller and the Twin Towers, the founder, the creator of the Twin Towers. And here you see here with the numbers game, Rockefeller in standard numerology is 110. So you have that 9/11 and the 110 all integrated in plain sight. And again, the Twin Towers, 110 stories each. Here you see the Twin Towers once again. But again, when it comes down to it, a lot of amazing coincidences here for the coincidence theorists that think it's all just some amazing coincidence.
John chapter 9, verse 25. Whereas once I was blind, now I can see.